Hi, welcome to episode 170 of the PassioKnit Spinner podcast. My name is Tracy, and you can find me as Schnüffeltier on Ravelry and on Instagram. I do have a Ravelry group that is rarely used, but I do post weekends over there. I do also have a Discord channel, and I do have a Patreon, and I'm going to link all of the things below, except for the Ravelry group. I will link the Discord and I will link the Patreon, and you can find me then. So today I'm coming back to you with a podcast, and I have stuff to show, but none of it is knitting. The only knitted thing I have to show is my sweater. This is the Serenity sweater by Joji Locatelli. It is in an interpretations book, and I'm not sure which one. I don't know. One of the first three. That is all I'm sure of. I knit this in a fade out of 4 different hand-dyed yarns. I'm going to stand up so you can see the bottom. So it fades into this blue with pink and green in the bottom. And I really like this sweater. I like the fit of it and the silhouette. So yeah, but that's it for knitting. I do have crochet, spinning, and weaving. So better than nothing. The knitting mojo is still not back. It has been gone now for 7 weeks. I have not knit in 7 weeks. And I feel weird. I do. I can't change it. But it is stressing me out a bit. So I have brought my box. The box holds the blanket. And to be honest, I think I made 2 rounds since I last spoke to you. Maybe 1. I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to show it to you anyways. So what I have done is this little row of V's for sure, because I just finished that the other day. You can't even see that. Doesn't matter. I finished 1 more green row, and the next one has a lot of popcorn stitches. So the next row is gonna take forever to make. This is the size I'm working with right now. The next color will be this pink that I have here on the inside. And I am going to make some popcorn stitches, and then another green and another pink. And then the part that I'm working on right now is done. I have now completed 72 rounds of this project, of this blanket. And I'm running out of steam a little bit, which is not good. Because I said this before, if I do not finish this right now, it won't get finished probably ever. So yeah, wish me luck that I will not run out of steam before I get to a size where it is usable. Now, that's the only work in progress I also have to show. Now, on to finished things. I finished 2 crochet projects. I was out walking this week almost every day, and I do have like a seating cushion that I take with me, and it's not a seating cushion actually, it's a blanket that I made for Tim when he was a baby that I fold up, and it's just very roomy. It takes up a lot of room in my backpack, and I wanted to have the same thing basically, but smaller. So I decided to crochet 1 of those seating cushions or sit-upons or whatever they are called. And I took all of those leftovers with me and my crochet hook, and I went out for my walk, and I sat on a bench in the middle of nowhere and I started crocheting, and I did a chain of 40 stitches, and I thought, yeah, it's gonna be okay. So turned out quite big. I used a 9mm crochet hook and 8 strands of sock yarn scraps held together. And this is what I ended up with. So this is mine. I'm gonna come closer so you might be able to see all of those beautiful colors. I still have to take photographs of it, but it is the most colorful, fun thing ever. And it's really big. But I mean, I will fit on it. That's a good thing. And then I made that in a day you know, it's only 40 stitches in a row, and it's not that many rows. So when I finished that, I made a second one, and of course Tim wanted to have one, but I'm also considering putting that in a shop because I really like how this one turned out. So for this one, I only cast on 30 stitches, and I ended up with this size, which I think is much better for one of these. Again, sock yarn scraps held 8 ply, or 8 of them together, 9mm crochet hook. This is 30 stitches. And yeah, it will either be Tim's or I will put it in a shop. I don't know yet. But probably this will be Tim's, and I will make two more to actually put up for sale. So that is that. These are so fun. I mean, can you see those colors? This is so pretty, and just The good thing about this also, because I use sock yarn, is that I can wash these in the machine. So when we're out and about and they get dirty, doesn't matter, machine washable. So these are my finished objects for spinning. Next up, not spinning, crochet. Next up is spinning. I spun 2 skeins of yarn. The first one, you watched me spin last week, or parts of it. This is my ply and fly project that I have been working on since November, and I have been only spinning when I was out on a walk. And this is my skein of yarn that I ended up with. I think it's like 53 grams or something similar. I did write it down, but I didn't bring my notebook with me, so I'm not sure. But I would say it is a DK weight. It is a Navajo plied yarn because I spun it ply on the fly. And ply on the fly is a technique where you spin your yarn on a spindle and immediately ply it into a Navajo ply. So if you are interested in learning how to do that, I do have a tutorial for that on my Patreon. So yeah, here it is. This is done. This is not one skein actually, it's 3 small skeins, but I put them in one for storage, you know. I like it. I love the colors. I think it turned out really nice. I'm honestly not sure what to do with it because it's not a lot. But I mean, I knew that when I started spinning because I didn't have a lot of fiber. And I have since started a second project, but it is in my backpack and I didn't bring it. It's another spinning project and I'm doing a 2-ply with that one. So I'm spinning it on 2 different spindles and then I will ply off of those. But it's only started and there's nothing really to show. So that is this skein. And then I spun a skein of yarn also for a Patreon project. I have just finished filming and making it happen and hosting, I don't know what the words are, a 6-part beginner spinner course for wheel spinning, and 5 parts are now up. The 6th one will come this week. And so I spun this skein of yarn to showcase plying for the plying part of the course. And I went for a very dark, I mean, it's black. The dark is black, and I went for a lighter ply so you can really actually see the 2 plies in the finished yarn. So I could get my points across better. So that's the second skein I spun. And for that, I have used one of my labels that I made for when I sell my yarns. And I ended up with 97 meters for 65 grams. So, and the yarn is mainly alpaca and some merino and some silk. But the black was alpaca and the lavender one is a merino alpaca silk blend. So this is a very, you can see it's very drapey already, but I really like how it turned out. So these are my 2 hand spun yarns that I finished. And I also am excited to spin something else. So maybe my making mojo is shifting a bit again. So the next things I have finished is weaving. I finished 2 lengths of fabric, and both of these will be worked on more. So the first one is the second one I finished. I'm going to show you first. And that is this gingham fabric that I wove on my new loom. I got a new loom, and it is a 40 centimeter loom. That's a 16 inch. And I used the whole width, and I made this gingham fabric. It's my first time making gingham. I think it turned out really nice. The yarn I used is 100% unmercerized cotton, and this will become towels. And this is custom made for my mother. It's a dark blue and a light blue. And I've already pinned it where I need to cut it later, because she wants a large towel and a smaller one. And I still have the waste yarn sticking out on one side. But yeah, what I do when I use my woven fabric as actual fabric and not just have a scarf where I need the fringe, I will overlock that edge into place. And I did that here. I overlocked it. I used those leftover bits for another project that I'm going to talk about in the future. And then I washed it and I put it in the dryer. So that has been working out well. And yeah, so that is half of the length. And like I said, she wants a large towel. It's going to be this long, and then a smaller one. And I got that loom specifically for weaving fabric for hand towels, because I really like doing that. And I really like using those, because I have made some last year for us, and we have not used a bought towel in the kitchen since, only the 3 that I made. So I'm gonna make many, many more. And also put them in the shop in the future. So that's the first fabric. I used a 7.5 reed for that, I think. I'm not quite sure. I didn't write anything down, but that's that. And then the other fabric, I'm so happy with this. I need a drink. Wait a sec. So this fabric here, I wove this fabric on my 32-inch loom, but not the whole width. I used 4 different skeins of commercial German sock yarn to weave this fabric. I used 2 for the weft and 2 for the warp. The warp ones I used up completely, both skeins completely gone. The weft ones, I have quite substantial leftovers, which is normal because you need about 60% of your yarn for the warp, and then the remaining 40 for the weft. Sometimes it's 65, 35, you know, but you need a lot more for the warp. So here we go. This is this fabric, and it is so gorgeous. Oh my God. This will be turned into something else. And I don't want to talk about it yet because I don't want to jinx myself. But I mean, let me show you. This is half of my fabric, and it is pretty. I love how this turned out. The accidental plaid, I'm in love with it. This was woven on a 12.5 dent. I'm pretty sure. I still have my leftover yarn in the end. Again, this has been overlocked for everything to stay in place. And I will use this to make something else out of. And I am going to share that with you as soon as I started that project and as soon as I wrap my head around how to start that project. I know this is very vague, but I just, yeah, like I said, I don't want to talk about it until it's off the ground. So this is the fabric. It's so gorgeous. I finished this as I finish every fabric that I weave. I took it off the loom, and because this is not something where I need my all 4 edges because it's going to be cut up, I did not do a hem stitch. I just left in the waste yarn in the beginning, and I have waste yarn in the back as well, or at the end. And then I cut off all of the threads with my serger, and I serged, overlocked the edges. Then I washed it in a sink like I would with a finished sweater. And then I throw my hand woven fabrics in the dryer for half an hour, because that will make them bloom. You know, those little threads of yarn, they will bloom open and your weaving will just look really nice in the end. So these are my 2 woven fabrics. I have a woven scarf in the making right now, but it is on the loom and I didn't bring the loom. And I have 2 empty looms that I get to warp. So I am waiting for a yarn order. I ordered some cotton cones that I hope are not mercerized, because mercerized cotton will not soak up liquid. So you can use mercerized cotton for clothes or for blankets, for pot holders, but you cannot use them for dishcloths or towels because it's not going to soak the water up. So I need unmercerized cotton, and it did not say anywhere in the listing if it's mercerized or not. So I'm hoping it's unmercerized, because then I get to work my loom and make more towels. So that's all the crafting that I have to talk about. For new stuff, it isn't here yet, so I can't show. Reading, listening, watching. I have been reading quite a bit. I read. Let's start with the actual reading. So I finished a book, and it is this book here. It is called Simple Abundance. It is written by Sarah Ben Bresnach. I don't know how to say that name. So this is a book that is written for women to kind of find their authentic self, their inner most true self, and to unlock that part of themselves. And it is written in a day-to-day, you know, it says April 10, April 11, it goes through the whole year. And you're supposed to read this starting January 1st and ending December 31st and have like this year of transformation. And I read my book over the course of 3 years. I started this in the beginning of 2020. I think, might have been even 2019. I don't remember, but it's been definitely longer than 1 year. And I just recently finished it, and in the beginning I stuck to it, and I read my little chapter every day until maybe March. And then I didn't touch it for a good year. And then I started again at the day that I had stopped and read until September, I think. And then I stopped again. And what I did then is whenever I felt like I wanted to read in this book, I picked it up and I read just a few days in a row. And I found that every time I decided to pick this book up, it would tell me exactly what I needed to hear at the moment. And it had nothing to do with the yearly cycle, you know, if you want to say so. But there's a lot of things that I really took away from this. There's some things that did not speak to me, which is, you know, that's normal. But all in all, I really enjoyed reading this book. It is a bit outdated, I have to say, because she wrote this book, I think in 95 or 96. What does it say? What is the 95? So this book was written in 1995. So there's nothing, of course, in here about social media because we didn't have that back then. There's a lot of talk about mail order catalogs, which are a thing that we don't really have anymore. So, you know, like when it says just, you feel the crave of getting new stuff. And instead of just giving in, maybe just look at all of your mail order catalogs instead and have that be your inspiration to maybe just remodel and reuse what you have, like in that sense. And that is something I wasn't able to do. She encourages you to start a self-discovery journal where you would go through magazines and mail order catalogs and cut out all the things that speak to you and put them in that journal. And it would reflect what you actually wanted in life. And I think that's a great idea, but you kind of have to take it and modernize it in a way and maybe start a Pinterest board to do that instead of that self-discovery journal, the illustrated self-discovery journal. That's what she calls it, because I don't have magazines or mail order catalogs that I can cut up. It's not a thing anymore. So, but apart from that, there are a lot of things in here that really spoke to me. Some things that I thought like, huh? And yeah, I think that's normal. I liked it all in all. And I think that it did help me with a lot of self-discovery, which was the point, that was the point of reading this book. So I can recommend this if you are in a bit of limbo place, which is where I was when I started reading. So the next book I am currently reading is called The Wisdom of Anxiety. It is by Cheryl Paul, and I'm almost done. I have been really enjoying reading this book. I started it last year in summer, and I took quite a break from it because all of that discovery and self-discovery and self-healing and guided healing that I've been doing, it just got a bit too much, So I had to take a break, to step back, concentrate on what I have already learned, and then I was able to get back to it. And what I'm doing with this quite extensively is underline stuff. Can you see? And just marking things with different colored markers. Now, of course, I cannot find a single page where I marked anything. Here, I have a green marker, I underline, and I have a yellow marker for super important stuff. So I am reading this book right now, and I bought 4 more books about anxiety. And I'm glad I did. I am reading this book. It's already helping me understand a lot. And the other 4 books will just, be more to build up upon the foundation I am setting. So this is this book. Then for listening, I listened to 1 audiobook since last we spoke, because I'm pretty sure I talked about all the other things I've listened to so far. So I listened to a book called Song of the Forever Rains, and I have absolutely no clue who's the author of that book. Now here's the thing. I updated my Kindle Unlimited books, got rid of the things I read or decided not to read at all and put in new things. And then a few days later, I opened my Audible app and finished an audiobook and decided I wanted to start something new. There was a book called Song of the Forever Rains, and I was like, I didn't buy that on Audible. What is that? And then I realized there's a new thing that I had no idea existed, and that is Kindle Unlimited Audio. And you can see that when you have Kindle Unlimited, it will say on top, you will have your little icon for the book, and then on top it will say Kindle Unlimited. And sometimes there's a little headphones sign behind that. And that means that if you have the Audible app, you get to listen to that audiobook through Kindle Unlimited for free. And I had no clue. So turns out I got that on my Audible app because I downloaded the book on Kindle Unlimited because I wanted to read it. So that was an interesting experience, and I'm really glad that I found that because I love listening to audiobooks. And on Audible, I only get 1 audiobook a month because I get 1 credit, and I just don't want to spend more money buying more audiobooks, which I know I could be doing, but I don't want to. So yeah, I listened to that, and it is a fantasy book. It is the first book in a trilogy. It is about 3 daughters. They're princesses of Adelor, which is this world. And this book focuses around the youngest of the 3 sisters, and her name is Larkira. And she and her sisters are they have some magic in them, which is not something you advertise in this world because people are very skeptic, and they don't quite want to be around someone who has magic. So they keep their magic secret, but so this Adelor place also has something that's called the Thief Kingdom, which is underground, and it is a gigantic place. And in that Thief Kingdom, all the things that are frowned upon in society, like taking drugs, prostitution, all of that stuff is allowed there, but nowhere else. And there is a Thief King who has his hands over everything. And if someone dares to bring drugs outside of the Thief Kingdom, they will be brought to justice. So the three sisters, they also perform their magic in a magic performance. I don't know how to describe that, in that Thief Kingdom, and they are called the Musai in there. And in the Thief Kingdom, everybody wears a mask. So no one knows who you really are in your actual life. So nobody knows that the three princesses of Adalor are also the three Musai that perform their magic. So I think that's the setup of the whole story. So Larkira, the youngest of the sisters, she just turned 19, and she is sent to a different, to a duke. He's a duke, and he's a dick. I mean, there's no other way to say it. He's a horrible, horrible person, but he decided that he wanted to marry Larkira. Now, here's the thing. Larkira just turned 19, and he is the stepfather of a 20-something-year-old man. And her dad is like, you know what? We need to bring this guy down. So I'm going to send you there for you to pretend to be his bride. And chaos ensues in a way. I really liked it. It was a book that I read about just a tiny bit, on Kindle Unlimited. I don't always read the whole synopsis of a book. I read the first sentence and I was like, yeah, it could be good, and just put it in my Kindle. And, if I don't like it, just take it off again. And it's an audiobook I would not have chosen, but I loved it so much. And frog in my throat. So I really loved this first book. It was amazing. I know that the second book is about the middle sister, Naya, and the third book is going to be about the oldest sister, whose name is something with an A. Don't remember. They are just small characters in his first book, so I'm not quite sure. But I already have the second book downloaded, and the third book will be released, I think, in January next year. So this is a trilogy I'm really liking, and if I enjoy the second and third audio versions as much as I have enjoyed the first one, I will consider buying the trilogy as actual books, because it was so good and different, so different. It's just, I liked it. Now, that was the reading and listening. Watching. I started rewatching Teen Wolf. I mean, it's been over a year since I watched Teen Wolf, so it's about time. And I started at season 1, which is something I never do. I always start my rewatch cycles with season 3, because that's my favorite. And I did not really care for seasons 1 and 2 because it has so many people in it that I despise. And I watched the first 4 episodes and I got reminded of how much I despise these people. So I'm gonna watch seasons 1 and 2, and then I'm gonna have fun with the rest. And what else did we watch? My husband and I started watching Superstore. It's just a fun sitcom to watch, nothing super exciting, but it has a lot of interesting social commentary packaged into it, so I really enjoy that. And yesterday evening, I decided to watch the Snyder Cut of Justice League. So a few years ago, the Justice League movie was released, and it was just mediocre. I had nothing super bad to say about it, nothing super good to say about it. It was just meh. And there was this whole controversy back then that it wasn't really what Zack Snyder, who was the director of the movie, wanted it to be, but the the studio interfered so much that he had to change so much about the movie that what we got was what the studio wanted and not his vision. So last year, the Snyder Cut was released, so his actual idea for the movie. And yesterday evening, I decided to watch it, and it is 4 hours and 2 minutes long. I mean, that was an investment. 4 hours. The last time I watched a movie that long was Ben-Hur, and I'm pretty sure that it isn't even that long. This was definitely the longest movie I have ever seen in my entire life. And I have to say, it is a gigantic improvement to the first version because, first of all, it's double the length. So you get a lot more detail, a lot more story. And that weird CGI mustache face that we got on Henry Cavill, that's not in this movie, which is a definite plus. So yeah, I watched the Snyder Cut of the Justice League movie and it was really good. Not Avengers good, but it was good. Better, way better than expected. So yeah, I think that's all I watched. Pretty sure. Then that brings me to the end. The only thing I have left now is everything else. So I was supposed to have a weekend last Saturday, but I just couldn't. I didn't. We're going to have a weekend this Saturday, which is April 2nd. April 2nd, 9 o'clock, German time, Berlin time, whatever you want to call it. We have gone to daylight savings, so we all should be in sync again. And yeah, sorry for not doing it last weekend, but I just wasn't up for it. But we're going to have one April 2nd. Oh my. I'm a bit, ahead in time. So that's the weekend. And my last topic always is mental health talk. And you might have been able to tell I'm in a very good place right now. I'm pretty sure that all of my reading has benefited me a lot. And also the weather. I have quite the sunburn because it's been so warm and so nice. I haven't spent a day inside in a week. I've been just outside all day in the sun. And today is the first day where it is gloomy. And we're supposed to get more snow. So I'm not sure what's going on here because we had like 15 degrees for a week now. So yeah, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I am in a good place. I hope you're in a good place. And I think that's it for today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Keep your fingers crossed for me that one of these days my knitting mojo will return and I get to show you more knitting related stuff again. And I hope to see you at the weekend this Saturday. Bye.